ahead and bring up tonight's keynote speaker, which is Adolfo Carrion in the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, which is also known as HUD, Regional Director for New York and New Jersey. Now, prior to that, he was Deputy Assistant to the President and Director of the White House Office of Urban Affairs. And before he was in the White House, even before that, and that's one of the reasons why he was chosen to go ahead and represent us as the American public in the White House, he had a record of success on issues of housing, community development, economic development, job creation, and building strong neighborhoods. And as a Bronx native, born and raised and still living in the Bronx, having Adolfo Carrion be the borough president for a good number of the years that I was there really made a difference. I got to see, I got to experience, I got to live what he did for the Bronx. And he was able to do that after just serving one term in city council. We were in Bronx, elected him as borough president, and he represented the residents there, I think, in a fine manner. Under his leadership, total investment in that borough increased from $361 million. That's the amount of money that was coming into the Bronx when Adolfo Carrion came on board. And that was in 2002. And then it was almost $1 billion by the time he left us in 2008. And that is a track record that I think is worthy of applause and admirable. So we thank him for what he has done for New York City. We thank him for what he continues to do for New York as the Regional Director for New York and New Jersey. And now I'd like to welcome Adolfo Carrion to discuss his green initiatives at HUD.
You've got my vote, sister.
Is that a better one? Oh,
Hold two microphones.
This is for TV and this one is for TV.
Okay. Buenas tardes, buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
It's good to be home. I'm delighted to be with all of you tonight, and thank you for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to share a few thoughts. I'm so happy to see some of my friends and colleagues who I haven't seen in a while. We worked in the vineyard together in the Bronx. Two of them are your honorees. To all your honorees, I want to say congratulations and thank you for the work that you have done over your lifetimes in advancing a greener and more sustainable world. But in particular, I want to point out two of them who were my immediate colleagues as elected officials and are really outstanding leaders for our community, for our city, for our state, and even for our country. Naomi Rivera, who actually worked for me, and now I work for her, but she worked when I was borough president in my office, and then went on to become a member of the New York State Assembly, and has risen through the ranks and become an outstanding voice for all of us. Congratulations. My good friend, and you described that he started when he was just a kid, right? And he was in the city council, was outstanding there, was noticed by the leadership of the city, by the policymakers, by the constituents, and then went on to become a member of the state senate and has been a real champion for environmental responsibility and sustainable smart growth. State Senator Jose Serrano, good to see you, my friend. Thank you so much. Now, I want to thank Al Placeres for the invitation, and thank you, Al, for keeping this battle going for so long. You've been at this for a very, very long time, and oftentimes, I'm sure, you don't get the appreciation that you deserve. Thank you so much, and to the board. You know, two very important things are happening tonight. One, right now as we speak, and I was in the car listening to the beginning of the presentation that the President is doing before a joint session of Congress presenting the American Jobs Act to try to rescue this economy and put people back to work. The other important thing that is happening tonight, it's the opening of the NFL season. And it's Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers, the Green Bay Packers and the New Orleans Saints are battling. But before we do that, I would be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to talk a little bit about what my boss is doing right now. And I had the pleasure, after serving for nearly 2 terms as borough president of the Bronx, and trying to ensure that we created an environment of growth and investment and opportunity for everyone. I was called by the president to pour the foundation for a new idea in the White House, the White House Office of Urban Affairs. And the notion here was that we needed to coordinate all of the federal agencies' investments into urban America, where the biggest trajectory of growth is and the largest sector of the U.S. population lives. We are a nation of cities. We are increasingly a nation of cities and metropolitan areas. Our populations are concentrated to the tune of 85% of the U.S. population living in cities and metropolitan areas. Nearly 90% of our economic output and activity happens there. Our institutions, our universities, our community facilities, our research and scientific institutions are centered in cities and metropolitan areas. That's the future of this country. And the challenge for us is how we're going to grow these places in a way that is sustainable and responsible and economically competitive for future generations, rich with opportunity. And that's the challenge that we face as a nation. So today, as the president goes before a joint session of Congress, we have a 9.1% unemployment rate. It is persistent.